In our news bulletin for tonight, government proposes the introduction of new taxes that will address health issues and generate revenue. Stakeholders meet to finalise the trade policy framework for Niue. Public Health Division uses the World No Tobacco Day to raise awareness and push for smoking cessation programs. Government has announced new taxes that will be implemented within the next year following the tabling of the budget last week. In 2009, the government introduced a new consumption tax that imposed a 12.5% tax on goods and services. Application of taxes is one way government is able to generate revenue, but Premier Toke Talangi says some of the taxes they have proposed take into account the health benefits for a lifestyle change.
There will be a soft drink tax. We're looking at the possibilities of cigarette tax, increasing the departure taxes, so on. So we're also looking at the possibilities of looking at replacing or substituting indirect tax with income tax, with indirect tax. It's something that needs some careful analysis on, and we're working on that at the present moment. In all of those things, we're looking at how we can implement them. Well, it's basically just a simple soft drink tax at the present moment. We will eventually include sugar, but at this particular point in time, it's more to do with soft drinks, because those are the more popular things that unfortunately our kids. It's a health issue more than anything else. The fact is, a lot of our kids drink sugared water, which is soft drinks. Therefore, we're going to try to see whether we can reduce that, and hopefully that will help them reduce the health issues when they grow older. So in essence, at the present moment, that's what we're doing. I expect some of them to be done before the end of the year, and some of them to be done next year sometime. It'll be dependent on whether we can do the analysis and determine whether we should be introducing them or not. The other thing that we're looking at the present moment is a sales tax, but that needs a fair bit of work as well. If there is a sales tax, we may have to make a comparison between that and NCT to see which is the simpler out of the two of them.
The national budget was tabled a week ago and passed the first and second reading. It has now been returned to the Public Accounts Committee to look into before returning it to the Niue Legislative Assembly for endorsement. In the meantime, government does have projections for the amount of revenue that will be generated by its commercial trading entities.
We hope to do that before the end of the year, early if possible. TV, we hope to have that before August. All those things. So some of these things are already in the pipeline and are ready to be done. Some not, but some still need to be worked on.
Premier Talangi says that some of the taxes may be applied before the end of this year, while others that may be a bit more complex will be implemented next year. The Economic and Planning Division and the National Trade Facilitation Committee held a one-day workshop at the scenic Matawai Resort yesterday. The Pacific Island Forum Secretariat facilitated the discussions with an overview of the analytical background informing recommendations on the Niue trade policy frameworks, rationale and institutional framework. This includes the macroeconomic environment, trade compositions and trends, trade, tourism and primary sectors, cross-cutting trade issues and on aid for trade. This workshop is to allow national stakeholders an opportunity to finalize key components that will improve Niue's economic capabilities. This will also be sent to Cabinet for approval. Niue has 31 consulted stakeholders from the government and the private sector.
The trade policy is a document that tries to operationalize the economic development goal of the NNSP, the new National Strategic Plan, and it does so by providing a set of recommendations about what are the key actions that the government is recommended to pursue in order to promote the private sector. There are a number of recommendations that are put forward by the policy, both in terms of macroeconomic policy, in terms of sectoral policy, and then all along a big set of cross-cutting issues. The policy emphasizes the need to have a strong regulatory environment. In this very moment, the government of Niue is pursuing corporatization of state-owned enterprises. Corporatization is good because it can improve efficiency and profitability. In the light of the results of the workshop, we will amend the recommendations, we will amend the main body of the policy, and then the policy will be submitted to Cabinet for approval. After approval, we will go towards implementing the second stage of the policy, which is the establishment of an implementation matrix, whereby the high-level recommendations of the policies are transformed in monitorable work plan for implementation. The income on Niue is already on par with very successful countries in the Pacific, such as Fiji. What we do expect in 10 years' time is that through the implementation of the recommendation of the trade policy, the per capita GDP will increase, and that the path towards economic self-reliance will be achieved.
Andrea Giacomelli is hoping that once these policies are implemented, Niue will become a self-sustainable island state who won't have to rely heavily on foreign aid. Niue's trade policy framework aims to become the top government policy to deliver Niue's national strategic plans and goals on economic development. The goal is to maximize benefits from Niue's resources in a sustainable manner by focusing on private sector development, targeting tourism, agriculture and fisheries, and supported by a safe, reliable, affordable and healthy infrastructure that is aligned with the trade policy framework.
Using a proper framework, I know most of what we're bringing workers at the moment under the immigration policy, but we are trying to bring it under the trade policy framework. We are trying at the moment to get WIPO to provide us with some assistance, technical assistance, to review our APIA framework, review the legislation we have, and to put in place a strategy how we can move forward and get protection for a lot of our Niueans traditional knowledge, design, things such as the Niue Taro and so forth. So I think that's some of the key areas that trade policy is trying to address. These are actions that they are recommended as part of implementing some of those policies in government.
The framework will be driven by the National Trade Committee, which will meet at least twice a year to report on the status of the policy's implementation and to support Cabinet's decision-making on key trade policy issues. Niue's resources are closely related to its comparative advantages, and the private initiatives will only succeed if they are able to transform those resources into exportable goods and services. Niue health campaigns continue to highlight the health risks associated with tobacco use and advocating for effective policies to reduce tobacco consumption. World No Tobacco Day is marked on the 31st of May each year, and the focus this year is for plain packaging. Tobacco-related illnesses is one of the biggest health problems and public health threats, with approximately one person dying from tobacco-caused diseases every 6 seconds, which is an equivalent of almost 6 million people a year. This is forecasted to rise to more than 8 million people by 2030, but 80% of these are preventable. Niue's health department has its own aims to address health issues and tobacco-related illnesses.
There are a lot of diseases that can be caused from smoking, such as cancer of the mouth, cancer of the lungs. We also have numbness of the fingers, as well as cancer of the stomach. So it's very concerning that thus far we still have members in the communities who are still smoking.
To mark World No Tobacco Day, the World Health Organization has launched a campaign to introduce plain, standardized packaging of tobacco products as a means to save lives by reducing demand for tobacco products. Niue's Public Health Division had 2 activities that have been carried out to raise awareness, the first being a sculpture-making exercise and the other activity a 30-day challenge cessation program that will be run throughout June.
As a goal for the Department of Health by 2025 to have Niue as one of the small island nations who is smoke-free. The program is still ongoing and it's still open to the public for whoever wants to access the services to come forward. We are offering nicotine patches and gums as well as lozenges to those who want to quit smoking.
Griselda says that the Public Health Division is open to people who would like to kick the habit, but it is a personal lifestyle choice that will also address potential health issues in future. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Do have an enjoyable weekend ahead, and we look forward to the next news bulletin on Tuesday next week.